we're going to talk to these three persons who have worked with exactly this kind of participatory processes in their respective fields. And we're going to start with Kristoffer Thurøe. And he is going to talk to us today about Alibis for innovation. He has designed some of the largest Nordic games. He has taught as a shaman. He has worked as a process designer and facilitator, and he does specialize in participatory experiences and development processes. And his main inspiration, and this is where I think it's going to be a lot of fun to hear him talk today, he's inspired by games, rituals, and processes to do what he does. So, Kristoffer, warm welcome. Let's hear you talk.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Very good. That's a good start. This is Bernhard. Bernhard bought one of the oldest hat shops in the world 1 year ago. It's called Pettiga, and it's in Copenhagen. Bernhard is a very nice guy. He's a nerd. He loves whiskey, he loves cigars, he loves motorbikes and hats, and he likes to know things about it and tell it to people. He's a great storyteller, and he loves to really go into the detail of things. That's one side of Bernhard. The other side of Bernhard is that he used to work at IBM for 15 years. He was in the department of contracts, and he was the one with all the details of the contract, making sure that everything was that it was supposed to be. So Bernhard is on one hand a very nerdy and inspired person, and on the other hand he's a very controlled man that had learned, especially on the internet, that you cannot say things about what you like and what you love, but you have to be controlled and talk to your customers in a way so they feel that they get the service they pay for. This is a problem for Bernhard because he doesn't know how to go on Facebook, for instance, and tell to the people he knows about the things in life that he likes and that he loves, about whiskey and cigars. So, this is Bernhard on Facebook. This is the shop mouse of the hat shop. This is Assistenton. It is a little mouse that can tell all about what it eats, what it drinks, what it experiences. And it is the mask of Bernhard that he can put on to be able to speak to the rest of us about what he experiences, and it even writes small poems about what it finds beautiful in life. Bernhard is not the first to be doing this. This is an ancient mouse man mask. Shamans have been using masks for centuries, for thousands of years, to go out into another world and bring back knowledge, get experiences to the tribe that the tribe themselves could not get. In rituals, masks were used as an alibi to have actions and to do stuff that you were not allowed to do normally. To enact myths and tell stories that you could not tell normally, shamans used masks. And just as Bernhard, they could do stuff that they normally couldn't do because of the alibi of the mask. Okay, this was supposed to be a circle. So imagine this as a circle, the magic circle. It is magic because it is a square. The magic circle is what happens when both Bernhard puts on his mouse mask and when the shamans put on their mouse mask. It is a place in time and location and with people, defined by who, where, and when. It constituted by these three factors that in this magic circle, we can make actions and have discoveries that we cannot have normally. The arena, the card table, the magic circle, the temple, the stage, the screen, the tennis court, the court of justice are all in form and function playgrounds, forbidden spots, isolated, hedged round, hallowed, within which special rules obtain. All are temporary worlds within the ordinary world, dedicated to the performance of an act apart. This is from Homo Ludens that Johan Huizinga wrote in 1938. And I'm pretty sure that if he wrote it today, he would put in computer games and development process of innovations. And that is what I'm going to talk about today, how we can learn from this idea of magic circle to make processes of innovation. This is a magic circle as well. We can see who is in the part of playing the game. This is these two German-looking kids playing Ludo. And we all know that there are special rules that are only in function in the game. And we know for how long it takes. We know when it starts and we know when it ends. That when someone have won, you can't just suddenly in the night say that you're still playing the game and you actually did something special that made you win the Ludo game. It is created by who and when and where. Here it's the playing board that you can play Ludo on. Rituals are not only ancient and with masks and of shamans going into other worlds, taking home knowledge to the tribe. This is a ritual that you all know, and it varies, but I think it's one of the most used rituals all over the world. We all know that there are special rules that can only take part in this ceremony, in this ritual. That when a ring is put on a finger, it means something special. And we know who are in the part of being married here. That is not all of us in this case, but only 2 people. We know that there are different roles of the people standing up there, and we know what the rest of us should do sitting down there. We know for how long it lasts, and we know that in the end there is a special rule that we can throw rice on people that we can't normally do, but it's okay in this setting, in this magic circle. This is Ulf, or Wolf. She is the leader of a magical tribe. It is also Amanda, a friend of mine, playing Wolf in a role-playing game that I made in 2007 called Totem. To mix things up, this is a game about a ritual. So it's a magic circle about a magic circle. And in role-playing games, especially in live role-playing games, when we put on costumes and put on characters, we need the alibi of the magic circle to be able to do this. Otherwise, if she was walking around like this in everyday life, you would think it would be a bit weird. And playing a character that didn't have any language, screaming of you, would also be a bit weird. But in the context of this magic circle, she were able to actually do that. This is from a game called To Prove Her Seal that I played last year. It was an art lab. It was a lab that was filmed and made into an art film afterwards. This is taken just after the game ended. And if we look a bit crazy, it's because we've used 4 days to play in a sectaric society that went into Gestalt therapy with an AI from outer space, and that we tried to live in the now by talking to our plants. So this is why we might look a bit weird. This is only able to happen because of the magic circle. That we trust each other, that the actions that we have there and the character that we perform are only in that magic circle. And we knew that whenever we went in there, that was what we did, and we could come out of it and we could talk about it afterwards as an act apart, like Huizinga said. So, what does all of this have to do with innovation? What does the mouse mask have to do with this? I have 2 examples today of projects that I have made where I have tried to use some of this to make innovation processes in the municipality of both Copenhagen and Aarhus. First off is Skab din by, or Create Your City, which is a project that Peter Mundekos is going to talk a lot about in 10 minutes, so I'm not going to go that much into detail. But it was a project that ran for around 3 months in the municipality, the technical municipality of Copenhagen. And there, the bosses had given us the agency to make a user-driven innovation project where the people working there could make innovation and try out new things. What we did was that we communicated it as a window of opportunity. It was a space and time with a certain amount of participants in a certain area of the municipality that could create new actions. This is exactly the same as a magic circle. We just called it a window of opportunity because it's easier to communicate to people working in a municipality. But it is, in fact, the same. We had 12 different projects around town. These were one of them. It is the Department of Graveyards. And in the Department of Graveyards, they have a lot to think about with the respect, both for the dead and for the mourning people going to the graveyards to mourn the people they have lost. So there are a lot of things that you cannot do or you think you cannot do at a graveyard. So here they are scouting out an old chapel that hadn't been used for 40 years because they didn't think they could use it for something that would be both respectful and useful. But in the 3 months of the project, they could try out to do stuff, and they had the alibi of the project to do it in, and hopefully learn something that they could use afterwards. Another project I did was called De Nye Unge, or the New Youth. It is one of many youth democracy projects I have done around in Copenhagen and Aarhus. In this instance, it was with the youth school, that is the school that you can go to in the evening, going to either more action-packed activities such as climbing and going on hikes, or you could get extra French lessons if you think you need that for your normal school. Normally, it is the teachers that plan what kind of activities there will be, and they use the money and they communicate to the young people what they're able to participate in. What we did was to take 500,000 Danish kroner and give it to the youth between 13 and 16 years old and said, what would you like to do with 500,000 kroner? This project was about teaching them about democracy, to discuss together, make projects, and to feel empowered that they were actually able to form their own lives. It is a bit difficult to get started. They're used to having authorities tell them what to do, both as their parents and in school. So they have to learn how to make up their own projects and think that they're actually able to do this. But once they're getting started and they found out that they were able to do it, they're actually quite good at it. This was the problem in the project. These are the teachers. They know normally what their role are. They know what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. They know that they're the ones telling the kids what they can and cannot do. And if the kids can't make the project finish themselves, then the teachers will take over and finish the project for the kids because no one needs to have a fail experience. Here, I taught them that they had to lean back and they had to support and coach instead. And if the projects failed, we would learn from failing instead of supporting the kids to a point where they would never experience failure and learn from it. It took a lot of time to teach the teachers how to have this identity. And it took a lot of time to make them feel safe in the process of doing this. So, back to the magic. What can we learn from this? What did I take from the rituals and from the games and used to create these projects? And what do I have for you today that I think is helpful, something you can take back home? You all know what this is. It's very easy to perceive what this is. It is kids in costumes and there is an orange background, and suddenly like this you all know it's Halloween. In Halloween, you all know what the kids are allowed to do. They're allowed to dress up and try to scare you. They can trick or treat. and you know what you are supposed to do when they trick or treat, and you know it's only for one night. If it was every day like this, it might be a bit weird, and you would grow tired of it, but because it's just once a year, we all play along. I think this is something that we can learn when making innovation processes or development process, that you have to make sure that everyone knows who's a part of it, when is it, where is it. And what I've done with the 2 other projects is give them a name, a branding, so everyone knows what it is. It's a lot easier for people to participate if they know exactly what it is. Then when they participate, there are 3 things I think is very important. And it is actually from creating roles for role plays. It is 3 ground rules made by Eirik Fatland in his talk, What is a Playable Character? He is one of the greatest playwrights or lab wrights that we have in the North. And he says that clarity, activity, and connectivity is the most important. Clarity, I feel confident about how to play this character. In a process, people need to feel confident about how to participate. When is it? Where is it? What is my role in this? What am I supposed to get out of this? To be clear, what is their role in the process, I think is very important. Then they need to know, from Eirik, my character provides me with things to do at the lab. Here, we have to provide them with things to do in the process. They have to know what they're allowed to do and how to do it, and they have to get agency from the project to being able to do this. It's very good that we say you have to innovate, but we don't give them the tools to do it or the space to do it. We have to make people able to actually do the innovation. And the last one, connectivity. My character has a place in the group society. If we make an innovation project that is detached from the rest of the organization, and we make up great ideas, but it is not connected to the rest of the organization, it doesn't have agency from the rest of the organization, then it doesn't matter. Then people will go back to the organization and they will feel that it didn't matter what they do. They made up great ideas, but they cannot do it. You have to get their bosses and their co-workers to know that these people are making innovation and that they're able to do it, and they have to feel safe doing it and feel connected to the rest of the organization. I think that making these processes is about making people able to do it and motivated to do it. And I think by doing these 2 things, with thinking about what kind of ritual we're creating and how people can participate in them, we're taking them from that they can't do it because they think it's scary and they don't really know how to do it, and they won't do it because they don't see the idea with doing it or because they don't feel motivated to doing it. And we're trying to place them in a place where they can do it and they will do it. This is from roleplay, and I have used it in thinking about processes, but I think it can be used in almost any interaction with an audience. If you are planning how to make an exhibition at a museum, or how to get people to understand a product and how to use it. I think these 3 are very clear and a good place to start when thinking about interaction. So, back to the mouse. The mouse goes out. 3 weeks ago, it was in Berlin, and it had a great time. The mouse had currywurst, it had absinthe, it drank a lot of coffee, it saw the TV tower, and it had a great room in Prenzlauer Berg where it enjoyed all of Berlin. When it came home, Bernhard was able to tell the rest of us about his journey because he had clear idea of the alibi he has when doing this and when telling the rest of us about it afterwards. So I hope that the mouse will go on a lot of other journeys and come back and tell us about it. Thank you very much.